Hello, I'm Gregory Hogue, here today with my wife Gail, and we're going to talk to you today about one of our more recent forms called the Merkaba of Oneness. But first, I'm going to show you how we arrived at this particular form. Many of you are familiar with Metatron's cube, which has a cube on the outside, and in the center of this piece are two tetrahedrons, one pointing up and one pointing down. So you have the star tetrahedron, which if you look at the center, the blue outlines the octahedron, and there are 8 points on the outside. So this is where everything I'm telling you comes into play. This is the Merkaba of Oneness. And what's interesting about it is it has all the elements of Metatron's cube. It has it turned in reverse, however. That is inside out. So in the center is a cube. On the top is half an octahedron, another half at the bottom, and there are 8 tetrahedronal points that correspond to the 8 points of the star tetrahedron inside, internally. Now the cube is slightly twisted, but you've essentially got the same elements as Metatron's cube, but in this case, what happens is when you're working with this form, it creates a movement to the higher dimensions and a unifying principle that really creates a sense of unity, a sense of oneness, a sense of moving into a higher dimensional space while maintaining your focus and your groundedness to this dimension. Now, when I was sharing this with a friend, G.W. Harden, he said what it needs is a Tesla coil. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, I don't know. I think he was just hearing it from his angelic guidance. And so after spending some time with it, what we ended up doing was putting one coil around the outside that is made up of a twisted 3-braided wire that is in the exact proportions of what we call a light qubit, because it's working with a higher 6th dimensional light dimension. And then in the center is a coil that is moving up and down in precise number. We always work with multiples of 9 when we work with coiling, because it gives us that access to the higher dimensional realms, the importance of working with 9, which you'll find in the dimensions of all sacred, higher sacred numbers. And at the top is a coil of 9 turns with titanium. This whole piece has an effect, especially when it's revolving on the causal generator. It has an effect of taking one into such a delightful, sublime space of connection and understanding. So it's moving us into a realm that really allows for higher development of knowledge and grounding of that knowledge, but giving us such a sense of calmness and peace in the process. You really start feeling the sense that you're moving into an expanded version of yourself when you're working with this geometry.
In a number of the different geometric setups that we're doing, we find that it's important to start with the Merkaba of Oneness. And I I believe that is because it is a structure that supports the initiation of a process. And with that inside-out quality that Gregory spoke about of of Metatron's cube, and the way that the coils of 9 are working, they are inciting the ability that we have to begin a process of elevation and move to those higher levels of who we are. So it's a bit of like the opening of a lotus flower. It incites us to want to go deeper, to want to go into the depths of what is possible. And in this structure, it can take us deep into the realms of who we are, of what we're here for, of what we have accumulated in the storehouse of wisdom, knowledge, and heart that we've experienced on so many of the levels of who we are, not just the physical, but the many different bodies. And so this is a very special structure that we can use to take those next steps into who we are and allow ourselves to bring all those pieces together and to incite the different places within us that have been somewhat closed off but are kind of waiting to open. And so the Merkaba of Oneness is a perfect structure to begin those new processes. And it works so well with some of the other structures, and individually it is quite an amazing form as well. When it's turning on the causal generator, you will feel the core of your being opened and inspired to take the next steps of who you are.
So together, I think we're really impressed with this form, and often put it on the causal generator when, as Gail was saying, we want to feel that connection, we want to feel that openness, because it is literally turning us inside out in the sense of letting the personality, the small part of our being, take the small back step and the back seat, and it allows the soul to start doing more of the driving and to start doing more of the directing of who we are in this life, which is a delightfully wonderful experience to start to have, and especially when it feels so relaxing and so good to let your soul do the driving. Thank you.
Thank you, and blessings.
Blessings.